So Anthony Edwards has said that he is not going to be playing for Team USA in the next World Cup, which is a pity. If you're USA, by the way, if you are USA basketball, thinking of money. If you're any of these players thinking of money, it's being played in Qatar. I think they're going to change their mind when they realize that the amount of money that they're leaving on the table by not going to Qatar. But right now he's saying hell nah, and that's really disappointing. Before we get on to, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 300 subscribers by the end of the day. If we could do that, that would be absolutely ridiculous. But basically, Anthony Edwards has an Olympic gold medal. And he's basically just said, nah, I'm not playing the World Cup. And it does show the problem with the USA international basketball. I think it shows not necessarily a problem with it, because USA are the best team in the world. USA are always going to be the best team in the world. As far as talent is concerned, the league is always going to be... I think there will never be less than... Even no matter how great international ball becomes, there will never be less than 40% of the NBA being American. And when you include Canadians, there'll never be under 50% North American. That's just not going to happen. That's never going to happen. America will always be the dominant country in basketball. But there are situations where they should never be able to lose necessarily. And not even never be able to lose. They should... Yeah, never be able to lose. I'll say it. If this team had played together longer and wasn't just thrown together a month before the Olympics, no one comes close. Like, when you've got 12 of the best 13 players at all times in a game, you should always be the favorite to win. And the problem is with the way Team USA basketball is it's badly coached. There is too much politics involved in all aspects of it. The players don't necessarily want to be coached. They just want to ISO their way to a championship, which can work. And it did work. Especially when your players are that good, it can work. And you've then got the fact that you're now seeing star players going to say, nah, we've won the Olympics. We don't need to win the World Cup. And it just shows how little care there is and actual pride for playing for their country. It just shows that it is an individual ego thing for a lot of players. For some players, it's just an individual ego thing wanting to play in the Olympics just to prove that you're the best, rather than a national pride thing, which is why I think other countries can compete. When other players put on their international jersey, everybody's being like, oh, when Patty Mills puts on the Australia jersey, when half these EuroLeague guys put on their national jersey, they become superstars. But there's a difference between having national pride and just playing because you're playing basketball. It's why players, when it goes to Game 7 of the NBA Finals, care more. And for a lot of these players, every time they play for their country, it's the equivalent of playing in the NBA Finals. Luka Doncic did not win gold. Like, Luka Doncic got swatted. He got pinned off the board in the last Olympics to put Slovenia in the final. Nick Batum got him off the board. And it would have been one of the biggest miracles in the history of basketball, Slovenia getting to the Olympic final. I don't think they're ever going to get back, because I'm not actually sure Luka Doncic will ever hit the levels that he'll never... Like, he might do better stats-wise, but his game is no longer that suited for international play, and the Slovenians players around him are worse. But I don't think there'll ever be another situation where Luka Doncic is as good at the international level as in 2021. So, I can guarantee you, if Luka wins 4 rings in the NBA, he would trade all 4 of those rings for Nick Batum to have missed that block and for him to have gotten into an Olympic final. I think Nikola Jokic would have traded his ring to have beaten USA. 100% would have. He would have traded his ring for a gold medal. He would have traded his ring, all of his MVPs, and his entire NBA career for a gold medal with Serbia. Maybe not the money, but he would have traded all that for gold with Serbia. And I think that's where the difference is like, you've seen Ant. He's just like, oh yeah, we proved that we won the Olympics, especially in the way you won the Olympics in the least convincing fashion possible. What you would have loved to have seen, especially from a player of Ant's level, is, okay, we're going to just dominate. When he's asked about the World Cup, and he's like, yeah, we're not losing again. Like, that's the reaction you would kind of hope for. And the problem is the Team USA are going to go out in the World Cup with, I don't know, Chet playing center. You never know. Walker Kessler might be there. Heck, Donovan Clingan might be there. There's no good American centers. You're probably going to see Scoot Henderson, Brandon Pajemski. And look, I like these players. I like all these players. But that's not a team that's going to win. That's a team that finishes 8th at the World Cup. just like they did in 2019, or finished fourth in 2023. Their 2023 World Cup team was their best World Cup team since 2014. And in fairness, their 2014 World Cup team was a young team, but that was a young team on the cusp of greatness. And that was young Kyrie, young Steph Curry, young Anthony Davis, young Klay Thompson, Kenneth Reed, the Manimal. But like, it just shows again how little these players actually care about international basketball. That the Olympics was purely just there to prove a point that we're the best, and they did prove it. They did prove a point that that America is the best. I don't think anyone has ever questioned that. But the Olympics also showed that while America is the best, this is not 1992, where even if America send out their best team, they can lose. And that's why I tweeted out before the Olympics that this would be one of the most impressive. This would be more impressive than 1992. This would be more impressive than 08. Because I genuinely think France, Germany, and Serbia were all better than the 08 Spain team. And this was the first time I felt like where USA sent their best team or close to their best team where they could lose. Like, I didn't think they could lose in 08. I didn't think they could lose in 2012. As great as Spain brought them in both those games, it didn't feel like before the term that they could lose. In 2021, they sent an A.5 team. They sent a B team with 3 or 4 of their better players. And this was the best possible team you could have selected. And teams around them close. But the greatness of some of these USA players pulled them out wins. Especially the greatness of not him. Like, Anthony Edwards was real good, by the way. But, like, he wasn't the guy on the floor pulling them out. When he was the guy, you lost 3 games in the last Olympics. So Anthony Edwards on the international level should have something to prove. He's talking about being the number one option. He's talking about all this. Realistically, the best answer he could have given is saying, will you play at the next World Cup? After him losing in the last World Cup as the guy, for him, there should be a point to prove. He hasn't proven that he can do anything as the guy. He should say, yeah, the vets are gone, I'm leading that team, we're never losing again. And if USA had that attitude towards all of basketball, they would never lose, not even never lose another game. They might lose a game. It wouldn't be a case of losing 3 games in a competition, especially when you have Brunson, Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, Jaren Jackson Jr. You've got a good team. You got to have almost an all-star team. Paolo Banchero was on that team. And yeah, it's just really disappointing to hear because we're going to have this again in 4 years, and I don't think the USA are going to be as equipped in 2028 to back it up. I don't think USA are going to win the World Championship in 2027. I think it's going to be Germany. And I don't think France, maybe they don't win it either. I have a weird feeling Canada might do it. But there is a possibility that USA goes a decade without being world champions in basketball. And it's purely on the players.